Do you all know who Sharon Tate was?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I took Sharon out a couple of times.
When I did the Hillbillies, it was like, it was easy. It wasn't that difficult for me, I guess.
The Beverly Hillbillies wasn't just a hit sitcom, it was full of shocking secrets, celebrity cameos, and behind-the-scenes drama most fans never knew. From co-star feuds to lawsuits over merchandise, the Clampetts' world is far wilder than it appeared on screen. Ever wondered why critics hated a show loved by millions? Or how a simple sitcom caused rumors, legal battles, and typecasting disasters for its actors? In this video, we'll uncover jaw-dropping facts, insider stories, and production secrets, from casting near disasters to props that became stars. Get ready to go behind the cameras of America's most famous hillbillies. 25. The show's critters. The Beverly Hillbillies was famous not only for its humor and eccentric characters, but also for the many animals featured on the show. Ellie May Clampett, played by Donna Douglas, had a deep love for critters, which became one of her character's defining traits. From raccoons and snakes to goats and chickens, the show included a wide variety of animals, creating both comedic moments and challenges for the production crew. These animals were often central to plot lines, such as causing mischief around the Clampett mansion or interacting with unsuspecting guests, adding a layer of unpredictability and charm that audiences loved. The presence of live animals required a dedicated trainer, Break-In, who not only trained the critters for scenes but also ensured their safety and proper care during filming. Managing animals on set was no easy task, but their inclusion made the show feel more authentic and lively. The animals became almost like supporting characters themselves, contributing to the show's enduring popularity and nostalgic appeal for generations of viewers. If you think this one is shocking, wait until you see what got the show pulled off the air. 24. The jalopy. One of the most iconic symbols of the Beverly Hillbillies was the Clampetts' car, affectionately known as the jalopy. This 1921 Oldsmobile Model 46 Roadster perfectly reflected the family's humble country roots, even after striking it rich. The car's battered appearance and rickety nature added to the comedy as it creaked, rattled, and sputtered through the streets of Beverly Hills, creating memorable visual gags. It wasn't just transportation. It was a character in its own right, symbolizing the Clampetts' charm, resourcefulness, and refusal to completely abandon their rural identity despite newfound wealth. Fans quickly grew attached to the jalopy, and its presence became as essential to the show as the main characters themselves. After the series ended, the jalopy's cultural significance was recognized. In 1976, it was donated to a museum to celebrate America's bicentennial, allowing fans to admire it as a piece of television history. The car even traveled overseas to England for exhibitions, further cementing its place as an enduring symbol of the beloved series. Its quirky, lovable nature continues to evoke nostalgia for the Clampetts' adventures. 23. Buddy Ebsen was an author. After portraying the iconic character Jed Clampett in The Beverly Hillbillies, Buddy Ebsen indulged in creative pursuits beyond acting, one of which was writing. He wrote a novel titled Kelly's Quest, a genuflection of poems depicting the journey of a little girl who gets to experience the world's delights and agonies. The girl's adventures unveil her development, the strength she acquires, and even the emotional struggles that contribute to her formation. The book lent an introspective visage to Ebsen, thus disclosing his intellectual take on storytelling and his inclination to delve into human feelings through fiction. Through writing, he could portray his creative side in another light, distinct from the witty character for which he was well known in the television world. Ebsen took the self-publishing route for Kelly's Quest, which was a sign of his commitment to getting his writing out there on his own terms. However, despite the difficulties that come along with self-publishing, the book gained considerable acknowledgement, landing at number 3 on the Los Angeles Times paperback bestseller list in 2001. This achievement not only emphasized Ebsen's multiplicity of skills as an artist, but also proved that his abilities were not limited to acting, and offered the audience yet another aspect of his legacy to worship and bless. 22. The movie. In 1993, The Beverly Hillbillies was adapted into a feature film, aiming to bring the beloved television series to a new generation. With the original show's legacy of humor and quirky characters, expectations were high among fans. However, the movie struggled to capture the charm and chemistry that made the 1960s series a classic. The recasting of well-known characters and the modernization of certain storylines did not resonate with audiences, leaving many fans disappointed. Critics were particularly harsh, describing the film as one of the worst adaptations of the year and criticizing its failure to maintain the spirit of the original. Despite its attempts at nostalgia and comedy, the movie failed to replicate the warmth and authenticity of the television series. The disappointing reception of the Beverly Hillbillies movie demonstrated the challenge of translating a beloved TV show to the big screen. While it introduced the Clampettes to a new audience, the film ultimately reinforced the enduring value of the original series, reminding fans why the television version had remained so popular for decades. The movie's failure served as a cautionary tale for future adaptations of classic shows. 21. Where did the idea came from? The creator, Paul Henning, first thought of the Beverly Hillbillies during a trip in 1959 when he took his mother-in-law to Civil War sites in the southern states. Henning noticed the local people's ways and characters and started to picture things like that, with rural Southerners moving to totally modern, sophisticated Beverly Hills. This contrast of simple country life and sophisticated city living blended into the main theme of the show's humor and storytelling. Henning envisaged a family whose old-fashioned ways, strange habits, and rough manners would face up to the rich, civilized inhabitants of Los Angeles in such a comical way that it would give rise to innumerable humorous events and cultural confrontations. Henning's plan not only attracted and showed the power of rural America, but also gave the viewers a light and cheery view of the social differences. He characterized the situation as funny by intermingling the familiar family interactions with the absurdity of the plot, and indeed producing a premise that captured a large audience. The show's enduring popularity is indeed a direct result of this creative concept, which was able to blend together reality, comedy, and cultural criticism into a never-ending television classic. 20. The highest-rated episode. The episode with the highest rating in the Beverly Hillbillies was called Hedda Hopper's Hollywood, and it was broadcast in the third season of the show. This episode gained particular fame because it mixed the series' typical humor with a smart parody of the movie industry, which was based on the famous gossip writer Hedda Hopper. In the plot, the Clampettes get lost in Hollywood's glam and glitter, resulting in a lot of funny misunderstandings and confrontations between their rural ways and the sophisticated world of the entertainment business. The combination of satire, physical comedy, and character-driven humor in this episode was very appealing to the audience, and hence it became one of the best episodes in the long run of the series. The victory of Hedda Hopper's Hollywood pointed out the show's power in keeping the audience interested, even though it had a country storyline. It was included in the list of the 100 greatest episodes of all time by TV Guide at position 62. Its fame confirmed the cultural impact of the Beverly Hillbillies, indicating that good quality storytelling and humor could always win the hearts of viewers, and thus secure a spot in the history of television. 19. The original name. Prior to the Beverly Hillbillies becoming a very popular name, the show was first called The Hillbillies of Beverly Hills. The pilot episode, which was named The Clampetts Strike Oil, showcased the impoverished rural Clampett family who were suddenly turned into millionaires just because they found oil on their land. The initial title was meant to show the family's country roots and the funny contrast between their primitive lifestyle and the luxury of Beverly Hills. After the pilot, though, the producers changed the title to The Beverly Hillbillies, which sounded more attractive and was more marketable. The new title stressed the rural Clampetts being set against the backdrop of a rich, cultured community, which turned out to be the core idea of the series. The name change helped to establish the show's identity and brand in the viewers' minds. The title highlighted the hillbilly aspect along with the upscale location, which was a perfect representation of the show's humor and charm. The rebranding was one of the factors that led to the series' quick rise in popularity, thus securing its position as one of the most unforgettable and lasting television shows of the 1960s. 18. Crazy rumors. During the run of the Beverly Hillbillies, one persistent rumor circulated about the age of Donna Douglas, who played Ellie May Clampett, and Irene Ryan, who portrayed Granny. Some viewers claimed that Douglas was older than Ryan, despite Ellie May being the young, innocent daughter and Granny being her elderly, quirky grandmother. This rumor spread largely because of the impressive makeup and costuming that made Granny appear much older than her actual age. In reality, Irene Ryan was 31 years older than Donna Douglas, making the rumor completely false. Nevertheless, such speculation captivated audiences and fueled tabloid-style gossip about the cast, illustrating the level of fan interest in the show beyond just its comedic storylines. Rumors like these reflected the fascination audiences had with television stars and the behind-the-scenes realities of popular shows. While baseless, they contributed to the show's cultural footprint, demonstrating how viewers became emotionally invested in the characters and actors. Despite the wild claims, the actors continued to maintain their professionalism, and the show's enduring popularity was never seriously affected by such speculation. 17. The Beverly Hillbillies. The Beverly Hillbillies is considered one of the best television series and most popular ones during the 60s. CBS showcased it from 1962 to 1971. It narrated the life of the Clampett family, who were dirt poor until one day they found oil on their property. The family left their native place and settled in Beverly Hills, where their lifestyle, which was rather rural, created a comic tension with the affluent, urbane neighbors around them. This fish-out-of-water concept led to the generation of humor, from confusion about the high class to the family's peculiar ways and practical wisdom. The show was so pleasant due to its mixing of slapstick humor and family that it won over quite a broad audience throughout America. The Beverly Hillbillies, notwithstanding mixed criticisms of quality, enjoyed great popularity with the public. It quickly turned into a cultural rage, leading to the making of spin-offs and merchandise, and even a cookbook that included Granny's recipes as one of the sources. Its impact reached even beyond the entertainment world and gave a national audience a glimpse of the rural American values and humor. The series is now considered a classic of 1960s television, and its characters and their theme song are still very much remembered. 16. The critics hated the show. The Beverly Hillbillies was one of the most popular TV shows during the 60s, and at the same time, critics were not impressed. The New York Times critiqued the series and labeled it as strained and unfunny, while Variety termed it as really painful to sit through. A few reviews even went so far as to state the series was a cultural desert and the lowest point of comedy on television. critics classified the jokes as very simple and the scenarios as very cliched, and mostly condemned the series for its unrealistic representation of rural life and for the boring caricatures of the Clampett family with their silly actions. However, the massive audience turnout was still not affected by the harshest criticism of the critics. On the other hand, the divergence in the responses of the critics and the audience was one of the main characteristics of the television culture. The attraction of the audience very often exceeds the judgment of the professionals. The viewers felt attracted to the family that they could easily relate to, the physical comedy, and the contrasting lifestyles of rural and urban areas. The persistent popularity of the show was a clear sign that the mass audience, in the case of television, could still win over the critical rejection, thus confirming its cultural phenomenon status. 15. Buddy Ebsen was almost the Tin Man. Buddy Ebsen, before becoming famous as Jed Clampett on the Beverly Hillbillies, got the part of the Tin Man in the classic 1939 movie The Wizard of Oz. Unfortunately, Ebsen had an extreme allergy to the aluminum-based makeup that was used to give the character a metallic look. The allergy caused him great health problems, among which was difficulty in breathing, and thus he had to withdraw from the film just before shooting started. This not only forced him to give up his role in the movie, but also worsened the lung problems that he would have for the rest of his life. Nevertheless, Ebsen's career went on to flourish, eventually culminating in the role he was most identified with on television. Buddy Ebsen's near casting as the Tin Man is an example of the unpredictability of an acting career, where one opportunity can be both a blessing and a curse. Though he missed out on being part of a Hollywood classic, the incident led him to a role that would become his legacy. He made history as Jed Clampett, and thus became one of the iconic figures of American television. 14. Nancy Kulp went into politics. Once the Beverly Hillbillies came to an end, Nancy Kulp, who was the brilliant and ambitious Jane Hathaway, the secretary, attempted to build a career in politics. She competed for the House of Representatives seat in Pennsylvania as a Democratic nominee. Kulp's choice to become a politician was her way of expressing her wish to participate in the government and interact with the social problems that were not related to the show business already. Kulp's political career was even more controversial due to her feud with co-star Buddy Ebsen, who was strongly against her being elected. And not only that, he even went as far as putting out an ad on the radio against her campaign, which she was convinced had a bearing on the election result. Think this was intense? Just wait until you see the episode that shocked everyone. 13. Max Baer Jr. said his role ruined him. Max Baer Jr., who portrayed the dim-witted yet lovable Jethro Bodine on the Beverly Hillbillies, later expressed that the role had a negative impact on his acting career. While the character brought him fame and recognition, it also typecast him in the minds of producers, directors, and casting agents. For years after the show ended, Baer struggled to find roles that allowed him to showcase his range, as he was often offered only parts similar to the bumbling Jethro. This frustration led him to believe that playing Jethro, while initially a breakthrough, ultimately limited his opportunities and hindered his professional growth. Despite these challenges, Baer remained connected to the franchise and continued to leverage his association with the Beverly Hillbillies in other ways, including attempts to develop themed restaurants, hotels, and casinos. His experience serves as a cautionary tale about the potential drawbacks of iconic television roles, illustrating how early success can sometimes become a double-edged sword in an actor's career. 12. John Wayne had a cameo. One of the unforgettable instances in the Beverly Hillbillies was the legendary Western actor John Wayne's cameo. In the episode The Indians Are Coming of the 5th season, Granny again and again declares that she wishes John Wayne would appear to fight the Injuns. The plot eventually brings Wayne, who is impersonating himself, to the joy of both Granny and the audience. His coming made the episode funny and iconic, mixing the rural charm of the Clampetts with the star power of one of Hollywood's most recognizable actors. Wayne's cameo helps to illuminate one of the main sources of comedy in the Beverly Hillbillies. The stars of the day made guest appearances. The show brought the world of television and the film capital closer to the audience by getting real star power and displaying it as a blending of humor, nostalgia, and pop culture appeal, which made the show highly popular, and hence, its lasting appeal. 11. Sharon Tate has a part on the show. Sharon Tate, an up-and-coming actress in the 1960s, appeared in the Beverly Hillbillies as Janet Triego, a bank teller. She starred in 15 episodes, bringing charm and talent to the role. This part of her early career showcased her acting abilities and helped establish her presence in Hollywood before she became widely known. Tate's performance added to the series' mix of humor and character interactions, giving audiences a fresh face amid the familiar Clampett family cast. Tragically, Sharon Tate's life and career were cut short when members of the Manson family slayed her in 1969. At the time, she was married to director Roman Polanski and 8 months pregnant. Despite her brief career, her appearance on the Beverly Hillbillies remains a notable part of her legacy, highlighting both her talent, a long and successful career in film and television. Ellie May Doll. Ellie May Clampett, who was portrayed by Donna Douglas, turned out to be the most treasured character of the Beverly Hillbillies sitcom due to her innocent character, animal companionship, and rural cuteness. She was so much loved that, besides the series, Mattel went ahead to make a Barbie-like doll based on her character. Nevertheless, the toy company did not secure the actress's permission to use her image, and that was what prompted Douglas to take Mattel to court. The legal struggle underscored the significance of performers' rights and their grant of the commercial use of their likenesses. In 2011, they eventually reached a settlement out of court for an amount that was never revealed. And this not only sorted the legal matters concerning the doll, but also acknowledged the rights of Douglas. The Ellie May doll is still today a symbol of the character's ceaseless popularity and cultural impact. It stands for the love that the fans had for Ellie May, and it also indicates the merchandising power of the Beverly Hillbillies more generally. 9. Jethro is the only living cast member. Max Baer Jr., who played the dim-witted but lovable Jethro Bodine on the Beverly Hillbillies, is now the last surviving member of the main cast. Over the years, other principal actors, including Buddy Ebsen, Jed Clampett, Donna Douglas, Ellie May, and Irene Ryan, Granny, have passed away, leaving Baer as the sole living link to the original series. His longevity offers fans a direct connection to the show's history and legacy, allowing him to share stories, insights, and reflections about life on set, and the impact of the series on American television. Being the only surviving cast member has also allowed Baer to maintain a unique position in preserving the show's cultural significance. He has occasionally participated in interviews, retrospectives, and public appearances. His continued presence underscores the enduring popularity of the Beverly Hillbillies and highlights how iconic television roles can leave a lasting legacy long after a series ends. 8. The show inspired a cookbook. The Beverly Hillbillies not only made the watchers laugh with their funny situations and unforgettable characters, but also gave rise to a collection of cookbooks inspired by the program. These cookbooks were all about the cooking of Granny, the Clampett family's know-it-all, and helpful matriarch. The recipes included traditional Southern comfort foods and funny dishes that were a reflection of the family's rural and rustic lifestyle, e.g., frying possum. The books not only contained recipes, but also often displayed photos of the cast, character profiles, and the series' anecdotes, making them a very convenient cooking guide and at the same time a nostalgic collectible for the fans. Their popularity showed that the cultural impact of the series was not limited to television but expanded to cookbooks, and thus allowed the audience to be in the Clampett world physically. The books, by taking Granny's cooking into the real kitchens, made the connection between the fans and the characters become more alive. 7. Buddy Ebsen went on to play a detective. After the conclusion of The Beverly Hillbillies, Buddy Ebsen continued his acting career by taking on a very different type of role, that of a detective. He starred in the CBS series Barnaby Jones, which focused on a retired private investigator who, along with his daughter-in-law, solved complex cases in Los Angeles. This role allowed Ebsen to break away from the comedic rural persona of Jed Clampett and showcase his versatility as a serious actor. His portrayal of Barnaby Jones demonstrated his ability to carry a long-running procedural drama while engaging audiences with a compelling, methodical approach to crime solving. Ebsen's work on Barnaby Jones further cemented his legacy in television history, proving that his talents extended far beyond comedy. The show ran successfully for several seasons, earning him recognition among a new generation of viewers. By transitioning to a detective role, Ebsen demonstrated adaptability, sustaining a career that spanned decades and genres while leaving a lasting mark on American television. 6. Who cares what the critics say? Despite the Beverly Hillbillies receiving harsh criticism from television reviewers, the show achieved enormous popularity with audiences. Critics often dismissed it as simplistic or unfunny, with some calling it a cultural wasteland or painful to watch. However, viewers disagreed, tuning in week after week to watch the Clampetts' humorous adventures. The family's charm, the comedic situations arising from their rural background clashing with Beverly Hills' sophistication, and the endearing performances of the cast resonated strongly with the general public. The show's success, despite negative reviews, highlights the power of connecting with viewers on an emotional and cultural level. The Beverly Hillbillies became a cultural touchstone, proving that audience engagement and entertainment value often outweigh critical reception. 5. The show's end. With its premiere on CBS in 1962 and a finale in 1971, The Beverly Hillbillies became one of the most watched primetime comedies ever. Even though the show had a very high viewing rate and a constantly growing loyal audience, the CBS network decided to end it in 1971. The cancellation was not the result of the dropping of the ratings or a controversial scene, as it was rumored, but a deliberate move on the part of CBS to reposition itself as a family channel, so that the viewers used to such programming would not get the wrong impression. The series wrapped up, but television was still influenced powerfully by the show that had run its course. The fun and humor of the Clampetts, their cultural impact, and the silent but potent presence of the show were felt through reruns, merchandising, and collective memory. Even though the finale of the show marked the end of an era for rural comedies, the impact of this sitcom stayed on, thereby influencing the style of comedy and the storytelling in television for the coming decades. 4. Buddy was against Nancy. During Nancy Kulp's campaign for the United States House of Representatives from Pennsylvania, former co-star Buddy Ebsen publicly opposed her bid. Ebsen, who played Jed Clampett on The Beverly Hillbillies, had a long-standing personal tension with Kulp, and he actively voiced his disapproval of her political aspirations. He even went so far as to air a radio advertisement that criticized her candidacy, an action that many believe contributed to her losing the election. Despite this conflict, Both Kulp and Ebsen continued their respective careers after the election. However, the episode remains a notable example of tension behind the scenes of a popular television series. It illustrates that the dynamics among cast members were sometimes as dramatic as the stories portrayed on screen. 3. The show got the mansion for cheap. Unlike many television shows of the 1960s that relied on sound stages, The Beverly Hillbillies was filmed in an actual Bel Air mansion, giving the series a sense of authenticity. The mansion belonged to Arnold Kirkby, who tragically died in a plane crash just months before the show began filming. His widow agreed to allow production to continue in the home for only $500 per season, an exceptionally low fee considering the value of the property and the production benefits it provided. Filming in a real mansion added realism to the show, allowing the Clampetts' comedic antics to unfold in a believable environment. It also contributed to the show's charm, as audiences could imagine the family navigating the lavish rooms and grounds. The low-cost mansion arrangement reflected the producer Paul Henning's resourcefulness and helped establish the unique visual identity that became a hallmark of the series. 2. Keeping the location a secret. The mansion used to film The Beverly Hillbillies was a real Bel Air estate, which became a point of fascination for fans. To protect the privacy of the property and prevent crowds from gathering, the widow of the original owner, Arnold Kirkby, insisted that the address remain a secret. Despite this precaution, it didn't take long for curious fans to discover the mansion's location. People began gathering outside the gates, hoping to catch a glimpse of the cast or witness the filming firsthand. Keeping the mansion's location secret was also a practical measure for production. It helped minimize disruptions during filming and ensured the safety of both the cast and the animals that were frequently present on set, while still capturing the authentic look of a real Beverly Hills home, which became one of the show's distinctive features. 1. The theme song was a chart topper. The Beverly Hillbillies was instantly recognizable not only for its characters and humor, but also for its catchy theme song, The Ballad of Jed Clampett, sung by country western artist Jerry Scoggins and featuring the bluegrass duo Flatt and Scruggs. The song told the story of Jed Clampett striking oil and becoming a millionaire overnight. The theme song became so popular that it crossed over into the music charts, reaching number 44 on the Billboard Hot 100 in 1962, a rare achievement for a television theme at the time. The success of the song helped cement the show's cultural impact, giving audiences a musical hook that reinforced the Clampetts' story and personality. Its popularity contributed to the overall charm and longevity of the series, ensuring that the opening notes of the theme remain instantly recognizable even decades later, symbolizing the show's place in American pop culture. Thanks for joining us on this behind-the-scenes journey into the Beverly Hillbillies. If you enjoyed these shocking secrets and insider stories, make sure to like this video, leave a comment with your favorite fact, and subscribe so you don't miss more hidden truths from classic shows. And don't stop here. Click the next video on your screen to uncover even more jaw-dropping stories from your favorite TV series.